All right, how's it going, everyone? Today is January 11th. We got MathWins with me today. Ton of college basketball, and the NFL playoffs are starting up this weekend. So we have those games to talk about. We're streaming on my ClosingDime YouTube page, the SharpMoney Twitch page, and MathWins Twitter account. So you can catch us anywhere there. What's going on, Jeff?
Not much, man. Excited to be here. Talk a little sports betting this morning.
We got Ashley and Paul in the chat. What's going on? You said you've had a pretty good month so far, huh?
Yeah, I've been off to a hot start. Sitting at for the month almost a 5% ROI and up. Let's see, up 14 units so far, and we're 11 or 10 days in. So hot start. Hoping I can keep it going.
Yeah, I actually I can I'll switch tabs on my Pickett page here. My month so far, I'm down $260, which is about a unit for me. I actually just finally updated my Pickett unit size to 250. I had it at 100 for so long because, with my bankroll, I should be betting like $250 units. But my average unit size is probably less than 100 just with limits. So I always just kept my Pickett at 100 because it just felt better. But I ended up switching it to $250. So I'm pretty much down a unit. But I actually had my worst day ever. January 7th, I was up $2,000 on the month, and I lost $2,700 in one day and ended up down like $700. So $2,700 was the most I ever lost in a single day. And it's kind of funny because it pretty much had no effect on me, which is wild to say, because my starting bankroll is only $2,000. And then, 2 years later, I'm losing $2,700 in one day, and it just doesn't affect me anymore because I just trust the process so much. But I always find it funny to look back on. Like, this is my all time, and I can remember these dips where I lost like $3,000-$4,000 in a week, and I never thought I would recover, but it's a smooth sailing chart. So I always just back out and look at this, and I already recovered from that huge dip. But I can remember even when I first started, I was only betting $10-$20 units. I remember waking up at like 3 a.m, being down like $100 on the day, and like just having like a wrench in my stomach because I hated it so bad. But now I'm just so accustomed to big swings that it doesn't even bother me anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, when you scale and when you do it right, where you can get to in, not a short amount of time, but you think I started sports betting like 3 years ago now, and 3 or 4 units for me now was my entire bankroll when I started. So It's like, if you're disciplined and you're diligent and you do it right, this is something that you can just multiply your bankroll in what would be considered, a short amount of time compared to investing in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Aaron's in the chat. What's going on? All right. Anything else we should cover before we go in to the Discord page? You want to talk about your daily grind stats? We were talking about those earlier. That right now you're probably beating your expectations, but you're doing a hell of a job right now.
Yeah, it's been something for those who don't know. Daily grind is a session that I put out every morning, a slate of NBA player props. Started modeling this season for NBA player props, and I started posting plays for the morning grind in December. And then it was just a play or two, kind of like my favorite plays from my model. And, the success was really, really good. So we turned it into a slate that I post in Sigma Bet every morning now. And it's anywhere from 10 to this morning's slate was 31 plays. But the success of it's been incredible. For the season, it's got a 14.5% ROI over 200 plus plays, and up 30 units since December 7th. So just the morning grind it's been a lot of fun for me. I'm a basketball junkie. I've loved basketball my whole life. And now to be able to make money betting player props on numbers that I'm originating has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really sweet. You've done a crazy good job. I think it does kind of, well, not for myself because I have kids just like you. So I'm up early at like 7 a.m. in the morning to place these bets. But a lot of people on the West Coast probably have to get up real early to catch some of your plays, but they've been worth waking up early for.
Yeah, typically I ship a slate during the work week, Monday through Friday. It's usually 6 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
This morning was closer to 7 a.m. Tried to sleep in a little bit, but that didn't work out the way I planned.
Yeah. Quick question in the chat here. Mev asked if Outlier tells him to place 7% of his bankroll. Should you do it or not? This goes with any EV bet. 7% of your bankroll, assuming that that 1% of your bankroll is 1 unit, that would be a 7-unit play. I would never recommend placing more than, my threshold is always about 3-unit max bet. I think some people might go a little bit higher, but I would never place more than 3% of my bankroll on any bet, pretty much no matter how big the edge is. I guess there's always exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, I would not be placing 7% of your bankroll on anything.
Avers, I'm curious to see what you mean by how detailed you are on tagging bets, like just where they come from, or I guess me personally, I'm pretty diligent in tagging just about everything, just so I can go back and assess where I'm at and where my successes are and where I'm struggling at. But if you could elaborate on that just a little more on what you mean, we will address it further, I guess.
I will also touch on that question because I'll be honest, I do a pretty terrible job at tagging my bets. I think I really understand what works and what doesn't work now. So I only tag my bets when I think there might be an issue. So people ask me all the time if I, how I'm doing with the Sigma bets, how I'm doing with the MathWin bets. And honestly, I don't even tag you guys' bets because I've seen enough to see that they get closing line value. And I just know that betting them is profitable for me. So I don't even bother going back and tagging them. That might be one of my faults, to be honest, by not tagging enough. But I also know that if, say, you start struggling or Sigma started struggling, you guys would make the adjustments to be profitable. So I don't have to make those adjustments. But that's just kind of and then even like this SharpMoney tennis tag I have. I tracked it for like a couple, like 100 bets. And then I realized, SharpMoney tennis is profitable. So I just stopped tagging it. I just track it to start. And then I kind of give up on it when I know it works.
Good question from Dalton here, because I think a lot of people look at this. Dalton says 1,000 bet sample size, 60% CLV, 56% win rate. Keep on or change up my strategy. Dalton, I'd say you don't have enough information. I'd want to know because you could have a 56% win rate and high CLV, but if you're betting bets that are minus 200, you're going to have a negative ROI. So what's your ROI there? What do your results look like? If you give us a little more information, I can tell you. 1,000 bet sample size is a good sample size though. So if you're beating closing line value, win rate doesn't really matter. It matters closing line value and ROI. If you're beating the close at 60% and you have a negative ROI, your edge probably isn't what you think it is. If you have a positive ROI and that kind of CLV over 1,000 bets, your edge probably is what you think it is.
Yeah, I usually say 1,000 bets is kind of the threshold to know what you're doing, or to really get the results. But here's the other problem too, Dalton, is I'm assuming your 1,000 bets is over the course of say you're betting the NBA, the MLB, tennis, all of that together, then you might need to make adjustments in certain areas. That doesn't mean all your NBA bets are bad. So I almost would like to see 1,000 NBA bets into main lines and break it down, 1,000 bets into the NFL main lines and break it down, instead of it just being every single strategy in your sample size of 1,000, if that makes sense.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Because we always say 1,000 bets kind of paints the picture. Your expected value should meet your actual value. But if it's not all kind of the same category of bets, then it's kind of hard to compare.
Francis, best and easiest place in my opinion to tag your bets is just Pickit. Pickit, you can sync your sportsbook account to for free. And they do a lot of tracking for you. So kind of what you see, what Dime has on the screen here. It has a mobile version too. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
All right. Another question from Mev down here. He said he's been just getting into plus EV using Outlier. He hasn't been reading the line movement. And it's been working so far. He said, will I end up losing money over time doing this? The answer is no. I didn't even really discover line movement or like start implementing it into my strategy for at least a year. But what I would say is if you're placing EV bets without looking at line movement, I would stick to like 3% EV and more, and you should be fine without even checking line movement. But the reason line movement is so important is it gives us the ability to place bets that are like sub 1% EV and still get some good value. So if you're looking at line movement, I would say you just have you have more range of bets that you can place. But if you're not looking at line movement, I would stick to like 3% and up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the line movement is just going to it's going to avoid some plays that move against you.
Yeah.
It's not going to eliminate those plays, but it's just going to at least minimize them.
At what point in like your sports betting journey did you start looking at line movement?
It was probably maybe like a year and a half ago. Started becoming more aware of it. And then, we launched SharpMoney in, what was it, April? So I think you and I really started diving into, how could we do this and make it easy to read? Probably about a year ago. It was probably January-ish last year that we started really talking about it more. But I think it's huge. I just think it helps with consistency so much.
Yeah, I originally had Odds Jam. I didn't have the platinum plan, so I wasn't seeing line movement. And I still made quite a bit of money without line movement at all. But I noticed it was actually college basketball, like must have been two years ago. I was getting crushed by FanDuel, and I didn't really know why. And then I finally had enough money to buy the Odds Jam Platinum plan, which is like well over $1,000 a month, but it gave you access to line movement. And then I started tracking line movement of the sharp books, and I started like absolutely destroying FanDuel. So that's pretty much when I had the idea, or when I was like, all right, line movement is really important. I feel like not too many people I feel like there's still not a lot of people talking about line movement. I think we're kind of one of the first Discords that really push it, but all right, what other questions we got here?
Poetic, I honestly couldn't even tell you anymore. I don't use Odds Jam. I just use our SharpMoney.
Yeah, he had a question about Odds Jam filters. Yeah.
Yeah, just asking about Odds Jam filters. I don't use them for EV betting anymore. So
Josh asked, I know we use FanDuel as sharp for NBA player props. Can we assume that FanDuel will also be sharp on over, under, and spreads as well? So definitely not there. The reason that FanDuel will probably never be sharp on spreads and totals is because they don't take enough money in those markets to really get a good picture of where the market should be moving. So sharp books like Pinnacle, Circa, and Bookmaker will always be the sharpest in the spreads and totals and money lines because they're accepting the largest wagers, which means their lines have to be more accurate. Like someone like myself on FanDuel, I can maybe only bet a couple $100 into FanDuel like NBA spread. But if I went to Circa, I could probably get $40,000 on an NBA spread right before game time. So the Circa odds have to be way more accurate because they're taking larger wagers. And they also see the bigger picture. If you're a bookmaker at Circa and you see a bunch of big names come in and place 40 grand on one side of the line, you need to adjust it. FanDuel isn't getting that information, so they'll never be that sharp. The reason they're sharp on player props is because there is no book taking crazy high limits on player props, and FanDuel might just have quicker access to injury news, information, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a sliding scale here too. Like FanDuel is sharper than other retail books at NBA player props, but I still wouldn't I don't hold the confidence in FanDuel player props that I do in like Circa main lines.
Yeah.
Like they're sharper, but they're still beatable when it comes to NBA player props. And this is why, top downing player props in general is just harder because the market isn't as sharp as main lines.
Yeah. I'll have to say too, with you and Sigma being able to originate your own lines and it doesn't matter what book, you can beat any book with your guys' originations. That really opened my eyes up to yes, FanDuel might be the sharpest retail book, but they're still not really that sharp if you can build a model and find your own edges. So it's definitely opened my eyes up a little bit.
Dalton, you can find me on Twitter at MathWins Bets. If you want to shoot me something, I can take a look at it. Honestly, I think people have more success using the SharpMoney Discord tools than they do the OddsJam tools because you've got a community to bounce ideas off of. So I as a business owner, but also as I gave up OddsJam for SharpMoney. I'd encourage you to check that out too.
Yeah, definitely. The community is such a big part of learning and stuff. So it's definitely and for the price difference, I mean, you're talking about $40 a month for SharpMoney to where I think OddsJam for their platinum plan where you get line movement like we have, I think they advertise for like $2,000 per month. So, I mean, it's definitely, the value is definitely there. I mean, obviously OddsJam has more markets and they're way more customizable, but for $40 a month, you're absolutely killing it. Dalton, we have like 25 different retail books, and
we'll hop over there and show you all of them here in a second.
You're gonna open up your screen?
Oh, do you have it up?
No, I could, but if you're loading up.
Oh, I don't have it. I've got it on one of my other screens. Hold on. If you want me to, I can present it. I just thought we were gonna hop over there and find some bets here in a second.
We were going to, the questions are still rolling in. Joe Hadley asked, is there an amount of movement that is acceptable when tailing a plus EV bet? So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, whether if, say, the EV bet was flagged at minus 105, are you saying if the line moved to minus 110, can you still bet it? I'm not sure if that's what you mean, or if you should be looking for a certain, like a 10-cent move before you bet the EV bet. I guess I'm confused on that a little bit. Or yeah, he said yes. So if I'm assuming you meant to minus 105 to minus 110, basically there's always a fair value that you should be betting. If the play is flagged at minus 105 and you only have a 2% edge, then that bet is probably only good to minus 107. So typically you shouldn't really bet anything unless it's like the same odds. It looks like we got Brayton coming back from the vet, so I'm going to add him to the stream. What's going on?
What's up, guys?
How much? It's getting back from the vet.
Yeah, dude. She's that vet's always running late, so sorry for being late. I thought I was going to make it, but
that's all right. We'll just remove the money from your paycheck next week. No problem.
Right. All good.
All right. I think I'm going to slide over to the Discord page and we can start looking at plays. I have a pretty good handful of plays already, but all right. Ton of college basketball today. So we will be pointing out some of those.
You know who plays today, Dime?
Michigan?
No, your team.
Oh, Longwood?
Yeah.
Your team. All right, let's see.
Inside
right, so
joke, sorry.
Yeah, that's
I didn't catch it, so I can imagine.
This one's a really interesting one here. We don't actually have a line movement chart, which just means we didn't pick up historical data. This one's actually one of the weirdest ones I've seen. Bookmaker has this at +2 for +117, and Circa has it +2.5 at -110. The fact that Bookmaker and Circa are so far off on a half point just makes me not want to touch this one. All right, here's one with a little bit of good movement. Also, a play I would not touch because Pinnacle is at -121 when the bet is at -120. So yes, it has value to Bookmaker, but not to Pinnacle. I like to typically see two sharp books here. All right, so here is a play that I would probably take. This is Texas A&M and Alabama. I know Jeff doesn't play too many totals, but I've been hitting them. I actually need to go back and probably figure out how – I've been tagging them, so I do need to figure out how profitable they've been. But I want to build up a good sample size anyway. Basically what we have here is we have Bookmaker set at 75.5 for this first half total. And we're getting a full extra point on FanDuel here. Circa also has this line at minus 127 at 76.5. So most likely a small EV play to Circa, and it's also to Pinnacle, and it's also a slight value to the bookmaker line here, being a point difference. So this is a bet that would hit. And I would probably play these for a quarter Kelly, mostly, especially totals. If you want to play half Kelly for spreads, you can be a little bit more confident in that. So what half Kelly is just a staking method. It's like the optimal bet size that determines, the win probability that we show here and the expected value, kind of a calculation of those two. So this is like a half unit play if you wanted to take Texas A&M versus Alabama first half under. I'm going to load up FanDuel and place this bet. You still not touching the totals though, Jeff?
Not early in the day. If it gets closer and limits are a little bit higher and I see a nice move, I'll take it. But I got to see, bookmaker and Circa both be in line and a little bit of trend in our favor. And probably I'm looking for a 2% edge or better.
Yeah.
College basketball totals are just one of those markets, man, where it's just they're so easily manipulated.
They move so quick. I'll just use this as an example too. This is the first half spread for the NBA, and this is a play that I would hold off on, just because we can see this market has gone down and then back up. So I really like looking big picture. It's kind of stable here. If I'm betting into a stable market, I really want to see over 2% EV. So I'm not touching the 1% EV plays. That's when, I'll hit the 1% EV plays when we have good line movement, which is basically if a book gets, they're priced at minus 120 and they get priced down to minus 130 over, a span of some time. That's a good bet. Let's see if we can find one with good movement.
Here's a good question that I'll hit on while you're looking for something, but Billy asks, do you guys have a set goal of number of bets you try to get down each day, or is that dependent on the number of events? Billy, really, it's if it's an edge and I like it, I'm playing it. If I could get out 500 bets in a day, I would get out 500 bets if I liked them. They were trending in the right direction. They had the edge that I want. But I'm also not going to force plays if they're not there. So some days you'll have more, some days you'll have less, but don't be gun shy because you've got a lot of plays out already.
So here's a play for my second favorite team, Lindenwood. This is another total, but I'm assuming this is one that Jeff might play because the EV is so high. And this is on Ballybet, which is a Canby book. So it's good for Bet Rivers and Bet Parks as well. And this one is just crazy good value. We're getting under 137.5 at minus 108 on the Canby books. Bookmaker also has this line priced at minus 131. So that's a huge difference there. Circa has this line set at 136. So we're getting 1.5 points extra towards the under. And then Pinnacle also has this at minus 120. So it's got good value to every single sharp book. That's the play that I would take. It's got a high enough EV where, like you said, if you don't like betting college totals too early, this is enough room to, this could move against you a little bit, but it's a good edge. This is one I would definitely play.
I think I tried to play this one because this probably pinged a couple minutes ago. I think it was dead.
Yeah,
I think it was down to
just
135.5 already.
I'd like to find, I think I actually did see Lindenwood spread. No, I'm not going to touch that one. I thought I did see some NFL plays up here. What do you guys have out for NFL today?
I think I have a couple props. That's pretty much it.
I'm pretty heavy on.
Yeah, I'm just on Sigma props.
Really? You didn't get any game spreads in?
Let me see. Let me make sure.
I have Steelers plus 7.5, plus 120. I hit that earlier. I don't think that's actually moved very well for me. I'm on the Chargers heavy. First half Chargers.
Oh.
And what do you got?
I have Sigma's teaser.
Oh, yeah, that teaser.
Oh, yeah.
Houston plus 9, Buffalo minus 2.5, Rams plus 7.5.
That one had crazy good value too.
Mm-hmm. See if I do have some bets out in the Steelers game. But it's all props. It's all Najee Harris props from Sigma.
Yep. Receptions, right?
So I do have, I have Chargers -2.5. Is only spread.
Seeing a lot of
Francis,
charts.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by FanDuel links only work 10% of the time. One thing I would make sure is if you're on mobile, you click the mobile link. And if you're on desktop, you're clicking the desktop link. If you click the wrong link, it won't work. But I haven't had any issues myself with the FanDuel links.
I'm actually having issues with it.
Are you?
Like, does it not load in, does it bring up FanDuel?
Man, rarely is it loading the bet slip. So I don't know.
This has been a problem with every service I've used for FanDuel, where I click the link and then it loads up like FanDuel, but doesn't put it in the slip. And then I have to exit out and click it like 3 times, and it finally puts it in the slip. So I just I literally re-click the FanDuel link like 3 times.
And that's what Chaps was saying that yesterday as well. He has to do it 2 or 3 times or 4 times before it loads. I normally just, if it doesn't load it, I just go and find it. But that used to not be a problem. So I would say that's probably for me the last 2 weeks or so.
Interesting. We'll have to look into that.
It's been a problem forever for me, which is kind of weird. But maybe it's just like a mobile. It's never done that on desktop for me.
Yesterday was the first time that I brought it up to you, Robbie. Was the first time I was like, all right, this has been an issue for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll look into that more then. All right.
But it sounds like it might just be a couple. I mean, if Jeff's not having problems, I mean, it could just be random people as well.
Yeah, maybe it's like I don't know, an iOS thing, or it's weird. Maybe we're not
my old ass phone that I can't update anymore.
The FanDuel app maybe needs to be updated. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird that it works sometimes, doesn't work the other, I guess.
Francis, the projected profit on Pickett is the bane of my existence right now. It'll start.
It's not very accurate, Francis.
It looks so good, and then it just starts tanking.
Yeah. So yeah, the projected profit. I don't love it.
Not great.
Here's I would probably play this one that I have loaded up here. I probably will click it. I'm not gonna be able to get too much down anyway, but maybe we would hop over to Pinnacle Odds Dropper to kind of see the limits here. But earlier, the Jazz were priced at plus 142 for this, and they're already down to plus 124, 123 on Pinnacle. So from that peak, it's quite the drop, but it's been up and down all day.
Yeah, I'm having
it's interesting,
incredible 2 weeks on the bot. I mean, I know it's not sustainable, but I have a 17% ROI on the bot plays. I'm up it's only maybe 100 plays, but I'm like 65 and 35. I mean, it's just an incredible run on the bot. But all I'm doing is chasing like big line drops. And I don't know, it's probably not sustainable, but it's been awesome.
The one thing I will say with charts like this, and the way I like to view it, is the most recent movement matters the most, in my opinion, because Pinnacle limits and Sharpbook limits get increased throughout the day. So obviously the most recent movement will have the highest limits because, like they said, the Sharpbooks are slowly increasing the limit. So I typically try to look at the past like hour or two, which is more telling for me. So if I just look at the last hour here, you see that Pinnacle was at like 128, 129, and then moved to 123. So that's kind of how I view this one too, why I like it.
I would want to.
It's interesting.
I'd like to see a little bit more movement in the last hour or two for me to take it. I'd probably wait an hour or so and see if this moves.
Yeah, it's not a bad play.
It's interesting. Like since I started modeling, my model does spreads and totals as well. I'm not as confident in the spreads and totals, but it would make like as I am in the player prop stuff. But like I've got the Suns at -13 in this game, so 9.5 at 135 is. It's a little off of my model, but yeah, I think my fair value for 9.5 would be like plus 150. But like I said, I'm not advocating for my model and spreads
Yeah,
and
Right.
totals right now. I just
You're just
find
starting to
myself
think.
looking at, I find myself looking
You're
at it. And
changing your thought process.
I've been playing spreads, and I've got a decent, super small sample size, but a decent return so far. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that we can get like, I don't know, modeling NBA spreads. I mean, it's definitely doable. I just think it does take a ton of effort, but I kind of think that we got the minds and sharp money to figure it out.
Lord just asked a question. Lord of Candy, are my props EV catches or top down studies? They're all bottom up actually. So this is all numbers that I've originated myself and built a model. So the fact that they're DOA or a few cents further than we should take is just kind of proof that the market's moving towards my number. So I guess when I call a play, if it's moved outside that 10 cents, don't chase it, because when I call it out, I don't call out the edges because it's just, I want to get the plays out before they die. But don't steam chase. Don't chase it past 10 cents. Most of the plays that I call are 12, like to my model, 12, at least a 12% edge. So if you're taking that 10 cents of movement, you're taking away about 5 or 6% of that edge. And if you're playing it past that, I've got to be like no error in my number for you to still have an edge.
When you're calling out your plays, are you only looking at your EV percentage over like whatever threshold, 10, 12%? Or are you looking for a little bit of confirmation through like line movement too?
Yeah. So maybe not movement, but some sort of market agreement. So if I have a play and let's say my model's showing like a 25% edge, but every book is showing a 25% edge, that tells me I missed something. Like my number's probably not right. So if I'm showing a 25% edge, but half the books are hanging out at like a 10% edge, well, then I probably have something there, right? But it's definitely, there's no, like, it's just kind of a play-by-play basis. It's such a feel thing when I'm going through a slate and calling out plays. It's not like my model shows 25%, so I'm just hammering it just because my model shows 25%.
Yeah, you probably almost feel worse about your plays where the edge is so high. You're like, all right, I definitely screwed something up here.
It just makes me think like, what could I have missed? Because typically the market isn't off 25% on a play.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least the whole market isn't 25% off.
Yeah. That's a good thought process. I like that.
Just having the morning grind with Sigma's drops for someone like me who's being so selective on my bot plays, it's allowed me to get the volume that I kind of need. So that's been a good marriage of the two of bot plays with the model predictions.
Yeah. And me and Brayton talked about this too, is props, you won't be able to get down full units forever on props, because once you start making money, props they're the least efficient market where you can find the biggest edges. So sports books will limit you on the props fairly quickly. So as Brayton kind of said, he said, screw it, I'm increasing my unit size and hammering these props while I can. And he had a hell of a start to this month, luckily, when he increases unit size, because typically when you increase your unit size, you always seem to get that bad stretch.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of holding back. Anyway, I ended up increasing the unit to, close to 1%. It's still a little under 1%, but that first day I did it, was a really hot day for Sigma, and it was my best day by far. I never had a day of 2,000 profit, and I think that day was like 3,400. So it was insane.
Damn.
Yeah, that's so sick. You beat my winning day too. I don't think I've ever crossed $3,000. I think I've gotten like 20, 26, 2,700 in a single day, but you smoked that.
It's surreal. It was surreal. Just knowing where I starting with $1,000 and making 3,400 in the day. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I've definitely given it back over the last 4 days. I think I'm down about 3K. So I expected it though. Ran really hot beginning of the month, and so I kind of expected it. So still up about 3,500 on the month.
Nice.
Here's another question from Francis. Just what's the difference between bottom up, top down? Can we just kind of dive into that a little bit? So the difference, Francis, I'll hit it first, and then I'll let these guys kind of clean up what I miss. But bottom up is you're originating your own numbers. So like for me, what I'm doing with NBA player props, I'm saying that based on my research numbers, analysis data, I think this player is going to score this many points and the price should be this. And then from there, I'm comparing it to the market to find an edge. What top down is we're letting the sharp bettors bet the market first to move numbers. And then we're following the market movements to jump on and kind of, it's called in the industry, it's kind of called steam chasing, but we're chasing that movement so that we can jump on a number and follow the sharps versus being the sharps and betting into the market first. So bottom up is you are the sharp betting into the market. Top down is you're following the sharps who've already moved the market.
Yeah, it's a good explanation. I'll also give a kind of a viewpoint too, is like top down betting. You're using the market to beat itself. You're using the other books, win probabilities and odds to beat the market. When you are originating your own lines, your lines are trying to beat the market. It doesn't really matter where the market is or where it's going. So it's kind of just a different viewpoint and also when you're top down betting, you're always kind of in the mindset of the market is efficient. So if one book is off from the market, you have to bet it. And the other side, when you're originating, you could see that the whole market is off. A bunch of pings just come up. Haven't seen many spreads for NBA or college.
Yeah, it's been a little short this morning. Blur half quarter Kelly, half Kelly on bot plays. Depends on the market. Depends on what the graph shows. Depends on the EV percentage. If it's a play that I'm really confident in the edge, I'm playing half Kelly. If it's a play that I have a little less confidence in, so maybe just a smaller EV percentage, maybe a stale market instead of one that's trending in our favor. Those ones I'm going quarter Kelly on. Maybe it's player props versus a main market. All those factors kind of come into whether you're playing quarter Kelly or half Kelly. If you're just starting out, I would play everything quarter Kelly until you kind of get a feel for what markets you have more confidence in and what markets you have less confidence in, or like the types of plays you should have more confidence or less confidence in.
Here's a good one. This is an NHL play. This is all three sharp books factored into this DVIG. It's only a 1.4% edge, but we see all the books have kind of moved lower in price, meaning they're not giving bigger payouts for this anymore. So you can get the Wild at -1.5 puck line for +145, where if you look at, Bookmaker, you're only getting +130 odds. If you look at Circle, you're getting 136 or 7, and Pinnacle 133. So I love the edges when you have all three sharp books in there, even if it's a small edge. This is a play I like. And we get a little bit of line movement as well.
If you guys want to look at, it's on DraftKings. It's the last ping. It's a Chargers team total. If anybody wants to play NFL.
Yeah, I'm already it's an under though. I'm on the Chargers in every direction. But yeah, here's one with some team totals aren't probably the most efficient market. So we're looking for good movement or big edges. We got priced from -142 down to -167. So that's a pretty good movement. I'm assuming they moved for a reason. So yeah, I'll play this one.
I'm going to play it too, just to get a little bit of action. I'm sure I'll be watching it. So
that's
you guys are locking that in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, this one's already gone. And actually, I'll do a quick example. So I just pulled it up on DraftKings, and this play is now -148. There's a question earlier whether we should play EV plays that have moved on us. So this is where that fair value price comes in. We need to find a better price than -147, and -148 is a worse price, so it's no longer good. But if this moved to -145, then you could still bet a little bit on it, but it's dead now. Where were you going with that, Jeff? I thought.
Jesus Christ, I just opened a private chat in the Discord and I can't close it. I'm a mess over here. Anyways, Aaron said looks like there's something happened in the Hawks game today. Got postponed because of inclement weather. So I don't know if Atlanta's getting some snow today or what. But they postponed that first game. So all the morning grind picks from the Hawks game are dead. God damn it, Brayton, get out of here.
I was gonna go and kick you out.
All right.
Kenny asked about explaining the college bot a little bit more too. So maybe I can pull up a play and just talk about it a little bit more. He said what's a hammer play and what's a little bit more risky as well. Larger EV plays are definitely what we're looking for. But let's see. Look up Bally. They always have. Like Jeff was kind of saying, the totals market for college basketball, you might just want to be a little bit aware of, maybe not take them as much. Let's just I'll just show this example. So this is Mississippi State versus Kentucky on Bally or Canby book. The total is set at 160.5 at -110. We built our new bot to be able to compare different numbers to basically just different numbers from the Sharp book. So like Circa only puts out one line. They don't do alternate lines. So typically we could not compare Circa having 162.5 for the total to 160.5. So we would never find this play before we built this bot. But now it calculates the difference for, total points or total spreads to come up with a fair value, which is listed down here. So we have Circa pricing this at a fair value of -124 for this number when they're at -120, -110. We also list the Pinnacle price. So this isn't the fair value of Pinnacle. This is what Pinnacle actually is priced at right now. So typically when I see that Pinnacle is -109 and we, you can get a better price on Pinnacle right now. And Pinnacle isn't necessarily a sharp book when it comes to college sports, but I do like to see, I do like to get the best price on the board. So if Pinnacle has -109, I probably wouldn't actually touch this, even though it has good value to Bookmaker and Circa. That's a debatable one, to be honest, though. How much do you guys factor in the Pinnacle price?
I would just like to look at the direction the market's trending with Pinnacle. Pinnacle tends to change more than Circa rarely changes. And the line movement isn't as easy to track on the graphs just because of the historical data. So that's what I really look at Pinnacle for. But if a play agrees with Bookmaker and Circa, I'll just check the market movement with Penny, not necessarily the price.
Yeah. Well, here's a good one.
If I see big downtrends on Pinnacle and it's still beating the price on the other two, I'll take it.
Yeah. So Pinnacle is this purple line here. And the reason we added Pinnacle into the graph is because they do change their odds quite a bit, right? So we can see movement better. For Circa, instead of going from -110 to -130 on a line, they just completely change their line from, if the spread's at +2.5, they'll just change it to +3. They don't actually change their odds. So you can't really see the line movement that way. So that's why we added Pinnacle, just to kind of see where the market's going, because typically these books move together. Like this play right here, though, this is a play that I would take because fair value of Bookmaker we're putting on this line is -123. And we can get this at -107. Fair value at Circa is -112, also a good price. And then the regular price on Pinnacle is -118. So an 11 cents difference here, which is probably slight EV play to Pinnacle as well. So this is the kind of line I'm looking for. But like I said, it's a totals market. This one's at 4 o'clock, so it's a little bit earlier. Try to get this bet in on my phone. Bally doesn't have a website, I don't think. All right, still good on Bally or the Canby books. Arkansas, Florida, over 156.5 at -107. I'm just maxing these on Canby now too. I'm only getting $50 down on totals now and 120 on spreads.
took you Bucky Irving middle earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
I saw some. Here's a good example. I called this one out a minute ago at Minnesota Wild minus 1.5 at plus 145. See, market's already moving to 140 here, and we're getting priced down even steeper. So I think that Minnesota Wild play at 145 is going to be really good. Yeah, I had a Bucky Irving middle where I've been projecting some running back, just rushing yards for running backs, and my model was spitting out an over for Bucky Irving. And so I went to go place that bet, and I noticed that DraftKings had like an outlier line just to the market, not necessarily my model. So it made like a 3-yard middle to bet. I guess that's kind of where the combination of origination and top-down betting work right there, where I originated a number like the over, but there was a book.
The only problem I see in that projection is the one of the guys that gave you the research was me. So you're relying on someone who's
you have the Bucks.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff were talking about this earlier. When you're building a model, you need to be able to input something that a sports book can't necessarily input. Like you taking all the stats off of, the game logs and building like some good model, like that's just not enough to beat the books, because the books are going to do that and they're smarter than you. So for the running back stuff, we basically, me, Brayton, and a couple of my friends, we each have a couple divisions that we look at, and we just study the running back rooms, solely just the running back rooms. So if the coach says, hey, Bucky Irvin has done well, we're going to give him some more reps this week. Like that's stuff that we change in our model that it's hard for, an algorithm to pick up like what the coach is saying, or just like garbage time stats that are obviously in the game logs, but don't mean anything in reality in a normal situation. So that's where we find our edge. But yeah, I do find some. We hit a middle earlier in the year, same type of thing. It was someone that was only projected for like, I forget who the hell it was. Someone was only
it was Chase Brown. Wasn't Chase Brown?
No, it was someone that was projected for like 13 yards. It was someone
random. Yeah.
It was like we had the over at 10 yards and then under at like 12 and a half, and he landed like right at 12 or something. It was sweet. See how many plays I got open today. Also, I posted that first episode of I'm building a SharpMoney positive EV betting course. I have the reason I wanted to do this was I have a lot of good information on YouTube, and I figure and other channels have great information on YouTube also when it comes to EV betting, but there's nothing that just like is a stream of videos where you can just watch it and like go step by step. So I'm creating kind of a course where it starts from real basic concepts and slowly builds up to advanced concepts. So I think it's just going to lay out really nicely where if you want to watch 30 videos in a row, you can kind of just watch them and learn everything you need to learn without going like into advanced concepts and then back to basic stuff and kind of going all over the place. So that's on my YouTube channel at ClosingDime if you want to check that out. Only the first episode was released, which is just like the breakdown of the course. But this one's a really good play right here. Look at the steam on this Oilers. So another one of those small EV plays, but if you see, all the books have just tanked towards the Oilers minus 1.5.
I have a question in the chat from D. Cole Sports. If you want to
I'll look at
address it. It's his first time looking in the Discord. Can we explain the lines a little bit?
Yes. So hard to see because I'm sharing my screen, but this is a great example. So there's when it comes to main lines, there are 3 Sharp books: Circa, Pinnacle, and Bookmaker. If they all have a line available, we display them on this graph right here. The purple line, you can read on the side, is Circa, and they're priced at minus 158. Really hard to read probably from my screen if you're watching this. But basically what we can see is that earlier in the day, Circa was priced at minus 125, and now they're priced at minus 158, which tells us that there's information or, sharp money that is coming on this line to where Circa had to drop them from, their original minus 125 price down. And you can see every sharp book is basically doing the same trend at different odds. So even Bookmaker was at minus 130, and now they're at minus 159. So it's all color coded on the side, which book is which. Bookmaker yellow, Circa is the purple line, and Pinnacle is the pink line. This white line that's kind of buried in there, that is the book that the play is flagged on, which is Ballybet here. And the white line will always just be the book that the play is flagged on. Hopefully that clears it up.
Yep. And you can also take a look, D. Cole, at the above that in the statistics area with the 3 knives. So the more knives, it'll be 0 to 3. So the more knives, the more confident.
Yeah, that means 3 sharp books were factored into the DVIG process, which determines the win probability, the fair value, and the expected value. You can still play a lot of plays with only 1 sharp book.
Mm-hmm.
That one just updated. I think someone dropped their odds a little bit. Oh yeah, this wild bet is getting smashed too. It's a team total that looks decent. Jazz over 108.5. It was priced at like plus 100 earlier. Now it's minus 123. Probably play that. I don't think I'm going to get any money down on this bet, but I'll try.
I've got the Jazz at 108 points tonight. Look at that.
Wow. Spot on.
I like
this
it.
One's dead too. Move to minus 1.
Man.
Is it dead?
Yeah. So our bet's clear. This bet will clear from the Discord within like a minute or two once the odds actually move. Like that's the cool thing is we don't have there's not a million, and every one of these sportsbook channels there's not a million bets. They just clear when they're dead. So like every bet in here should still have the same price. There might be a couple that lag, but it's pretty good. DraftKings is offering the same play. MGM moved to minus 110. Let's see if DraftKings moved yet. No, DraftKings has plus 100 still. So you might see that too, where you get the same play, but for different retail books. And that's because the DVIG process is to sharp books. It's good if you have limits where you can just hit like 3 different books because you're not able to get all your money down. But where it does cause problems is if you went in and put 2 units on the play on FanDuel and then it pops up on DraftKings again and you hit it for another 2 units. You don't want to overexpose yourself. So that is something you got to kind of be careful of. Got $100 on that team total on DraftKings.
Hell yeah.
Good. $99.99 actually.
I got 270.
Nice. Did you
Sick,
just max,
bro?
Are you just maxing now?
What's that?
You're just max betting now, pretty much.
No, I really don't. I mean, knock on wood, but I haven't really experienced much limits.
Better gear up for him.
Yeah, I'm hoping my 2 years of betting like a fool has helped.
I forgot you did that. Yeah, that definitely helps. If you've been just like recreational betting for years, then your sportsbook accounts are probably safe for a little while once you start actually becoming profitable. So it might help your longevity there.
Yeah.
MGM player props. Here's a Jalen Warren over rushing yards.
Didn't you like Jalen Warren?
What's that?
Didn't you like Jalen Warren?
I like his I think I went with his under too.
You had his under.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Under 33.5.
Yeah. So it seems like the market might have moved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really, actually. I don't know. It hasn't moved too much. I did not expect too much movement on any of the plays I called out for my running back projections because the market should be pretty damn efficient. There's a whole season of data for the books to use to put these prices out there. And there's only, what are there, 5 games on. So
I think you were under on both Najee and Warren.
Yeah. So I just had, with the game script and stuff, I just had Steelers not getting too many carries and the Ravens are the number 1 rushing defense. So it just kind of worked where I had Najee Harris and Warren unders. I like the Najee Harris play a little better. I think I took him under 42.5. I think the market's at 39.5 now. So we did get good movement on that one. I called that one out on Pickett. But Warren does scare me a little bit because he is kind of explosive, where Najee Harris is pretty much like running up the middle for 3 yards every play.
Right.
But I've seen where like the Steelers are behind and they need a big play. It's typically Warren in there, not Najee. So this is a really cool player prop one where you can see that like where the whole market is. -110 is the best price you're going to find here, but like Pinnacle is way towards the under here, -140. I mean the over, -140 for the over.
Just a heads up, guys. I got about 5 minutes before I've got to take off. Doesn't mean stream has to end, but
yeah. Team total is still sitting there. That one must not have cleared. Brayton, you put out any Super Bowl futures yet?
2 of them. I have the Bills to win it, and then I think I took the Bills Lions to
the matchup.
Yeah, the matchup.
Yeah. Get a phone call too. All right. I'll probably end up getting off too. So I guess we can just kind of wrap it up here unless you guys got something else to add. It's been almost an hour.
Nope. It looks like
I think I'm good.
Questions, so we're good.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish it up here. Hopefully everyone makes some money this weekend and hopefully we can stream next Saturday as well. So,
yep.
All right. See you guys later. Good luck.
See you.